With 2021 ending with all the tragedies and comedies it brought along with it, I thought to do something different for this year's final video. Today, I'm going to go through 10 of the best animation masterpieces of 2021. Remember, I said animation, so I'll be speaking about a few Western shows here too. Let's go! Kicking things off, we have Star Wars Visions. Normally, there are two things people shouldn't do in life: turn an anime into live action and turn a live action into an anime. There seems to be no exceptions for the first one, but Star Wars literally broke the second rule by giving us Star Wars Visions. After the final movie made everyone want to dig a grave and get buried in it, Visions goes for a different type of storytelling where the big named Japanese studios come together to expand the Star Wars universe and tell a few stories in the anime style. Yep, this means you get all those cool action sequences that are animated by your favorite studio. And rather than become an action slugfest, each individual episode takes the time to develop its characters, so by the time you finish every short movie, you could tell it's not a temporary experience. You remember these stories forever, and I can proudly announce that all of these 9 short movies are way better than the final Star Wars movie. That's a fact. At number 9, we got Ranking of the Kings.
Oh. 何喜んでんだお前。会話できるのが嬉しいって。
I know. When you see me list a cartoon-looking show as one of the best anime ever made, you're going to question my sanity because even I begin to question my sanity before watching this show. Why in hell would Wit Studio ever pick up a show like this? Give us Farm Saga Season 2, damn it! But then I started watching this show and holy cheeks of Rin, this is really freaking good. When you start watching this show, you're like, oh, look at this wholesome-looking little guy. You think a story can make me emotional? What is this? A Disney fairy tale? Then a couple of episodes later, you're crying like a little baby because this show is hitting your ribs like a hammer. Osama Ranking has a pretty simple story, but what matters is the way it executes the story. And even though from the outside it looks like a family-friendly kids show, it gets darker as it moves along. It's like going from The Little Mermaid to Elfen Lied. Coming up at number 8 is Kami Can't Communicate. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the most wholesome anime of 2021. Now, some of you are going to say, huh, you included this show on this list just because you're a simp for Komi-san. I won't be denying the simping part, but the main reason I included this is because of the direction and the writing of this show. Back when I first read Komi-san, I always doubted how this manga art style would get an anime adaptation, but somehow the geniuses behind the creative team managed to bring the manga to life in the way we wanted it to. Yes, sometimes the jokes can get a bit repetitive and the plot may not be as complex as you think it is, but this show definitely shows to present that shy girl trope without making it look like a cliche we've seen a million times before. Now let's move on to some mystery with Odd Taxi.
運転手さん、最近なんか面白いことありました？面白いこと。
Odd Taxi is definitely odd. When you start it out, you're going to think it's another one of those talking animal shows like Beastars or Brand New Animal, but then you're going to get pushed into this slow-paced premise about a taxi driver. Most anime fans these days look out for shows with tons of action and hype in the first episode. They want the tension to start from the very first minute of the anime, and this is why the first couple of episodes of Odd Taxi won't sit well with a lot of anime audiences. But as you move along, you can see how all the mystery of the show ties into this one man and his taxi. Oh wait, one dog and his taxi. As we move along, the mysteries get bigger and the stakes get bigger and the characters get more depth and the writing gets more complex. And for me, the writing of this show is a 10 out of 10. For that alone, this deserves a spot on this list. At number 6, we've got Jujutsu Kaisen.
黒い光は
Jujutsu Kaisen is peak shonen, or at least peak modern shonen. The secret formula behind Jujutsu Kaisen isn't a complex story or some complex characters, it's all about understanding the demographic and giving what they want. We've got overpowered mentors, protagonists who aren't some oblivious idiots who need to go through a training arc, we have female characters who finally get some development apart from being used as fan service, and to top it all off, we even have a mystery that is being slowly developed. Oh wait, I'm missing the most important thing? The fight scenes. Holy hell. These fight scenes look freaking gorgeous. That final fight between Nobara and Yuji taking down the cursed spirits with that soundtrack playing in the background was peak shonen action for me. I still feel like the character writing could have been improved while giving some time to the character development, but hopefully it will be done in the second season. Speaking of shonen, we cannot forget Gintama the final. And Gintama is coming to an end. How long has it been since this series started? It's been a really long journey, and from an odd job detective group to people who want to save the world from aliens. It's a pretty big promotion, but Gintama executed all those ideas really well. It started out as a series that parodied all the shonen tropes, and then turned to a show that gave us all that shonen hype back again. Come on, the Shogun Assassin arc? The final few episodes of the Farewell Shinsengumi arc? The whole set of fights in the Rocky arc? All of these gave us hype after hype, and the final Gintama movie was the accumulation of it all. And it didn't fail in delivering us a masterpiece. And this even managed to surpass the rankings of Full Metal Alchemist for a short time. That's a whole new victory. Let's move on to a Western show next with Castlevania Season 4. Remember how I first said anime and live action shouldn't be mixed? The same should be said for anything related to gaming. But Castlevania is one of those shows that turns a video game into a masterpiece of a show. The first season introduced us to our main characters and gave us an introduction about the whole world and setting. The second season finished things off while leaving some of the character arcs still hanging, and the third and fourth seasons brought the real masterminds of the plot into the story and finally gave us a sweet reunion between Alucard and the gang. I mean, come on. That moment all three of them joined the fight was pretty much like Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura reunion, but this time the main female character of the show actually does something. We even got individual storylines of Carmela, Hector, and Isaac. The best video game adaptation of all time? No wait, we've got one more. But let's drop the video game hype for a moment to give the spotlight to one of the best movies ever made, Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0.
互いに同調し、調律をしている。これも私に必要な儀式だ。
Finally, Evangelion is ending. My god, when did this show first start? Back in the very late 90s? Didn't this start as a kid's show before turning into a psychological warfare about some apocalypse? I'm pretty sure the Western people have analyzed End of Evangelion more than the actual end of the world, and some of the theories made my head explode. Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 is a more simple approach to the ending. It still has the same emotional tension, but this time it's presented in a way that everyone can understand. Shinji finally gets some character development, and he also gets a waifu by abandoning his two previous waifus. At least this puts an end to all those decade-long shipping wars. And what's better is how this movie feels like a perfect partying gift for all the characters of the series and the whole EVA community. Now, let's hope some money-hungry Japanese producer won't try to milk the hell out of this series again. At number 2, we've got ever-popular Attack on Titan Season 4. The anime with the best story and the most toxic fanbase returned in 2021. I'm pretty sure this isn't anything new since the return of the fourth season was pretty much hyped by the entire community. There's a lot of reasons why season 4 is pretty good, like how we got introduced to the other side of the war, how Eren became the main driving force of the story, how Armin went from good boy to being a mass murderer for Eren's sake, and finally the stakes of this story become so high you need to do a heart surgery to recover from the hype. This is also also the season that showed Attack on Titan deserves the hype it needs, because with each episode, it made the story more intricate and complex, and gave us characters we could root for. Yes, I feel like the animation could be a lot more refined, like when the fight between Levi versus Zeke to the original Levi versus Zeke fight, but I feel like the animation did justice to this story. And with the second part returning in 2022, let's hope that the hype will continue. Hopefully. Dear God, 2022 is going to be a war zone. And coming at number 1 is Arcane. Damn! League of Legends once again made something better than the actual League of Legends game. They gave us the Harley Quinn we deserve. Along with her, we got a show with top tier characters, great writing, superb animation, and something that can tick 10 out of 10 in all boxes. I know you're going to tell me that I'm overhyping this show and that it's overrated, but no, this show is not overrated. This is one of the best animated series I watched this year, and it deserves the hype it gets. The writers turned fictional gaming characters into characters with depth. Jinx went from crazy cheerful girl to an evil psycho nut job everyone can put on their top waifu list. The rest of the characters were all fleshed out to make the story more complex and emotionally engaging. And mix all of that with the epic fight scenes, the beautiful visuals, and Imagine Dragons opening, and you'll get a show that deserves a 100 out of 10. And yeah, Jinx is the best girl. If you don't agree, then you're picking a fight with me.